community. And on the show today, I wanted to answer some questions and just visit with you guys a little bit about what might be going on in your head and what you might be facing. And certainly there's so many of us that have gone down this road before. Now, what's interesting about it is in years past, when we've been in the middle of flu season, or maybe the norovirus, which a lot of people know it as the cruise ship virus. So many of us have had to deal with this usually once a year. And usually what you'll see is when you walk into our buildings, we'll be telling you, wash your hands, or we'll be standing at the door with some hand sanitizer. But of course, the biggest thing is, as many people are just really realizing now, it's all about washing your hands. So, not many of us have had to shut down our doors in the past to all families. It's really unheard of what we're facing right now, other than if we had a real serious outbreak. So if we had a real serious outbreak in the past, oh my goodness, yes, we'd be putting the big doors the big signs on the door that was very directive to families and any guests about whether you can come in or not, and what you can do and how you're supposed to check in and the whole bit. All of us now, if you can see that going on. And if you haven't been to a long-term care facility, if you don't have someone that lives in one, now's the time. You could see the signs that are on our doors right now and what we're doing. But it is very rare. We've never done it. I don't know that it's ever been done in history. It certainly, in my career, 25 years, and then even talking to nurses that have been doing this for 50 plus years, they haven't seen this before. So the fact that we're all shut down, our doors are locked, and that families are not allowed to come in, this is different, and it's very strange, and it's very hard for the families. It's interesting for the seniors. They've already lived through some hard things, right? They've already lived it. They have been doing some great things in our history when you think about even the wars. You think about the women that were at home during the wartime and the men that were out fighting the war. They can tell us stories, and we've talked about that before on the show too, about just hearing the stories from them. But right now they're facing another situation which they just take in stride for the most part. Not everyone, but for the most part, our seniors are they're tough. They're tougher than shoe leather, and we're really going to learn from them through this experience. I'm so proud of them. If you have a family member that's in a long-term care facility, in assisted living, or a nursing home, you are probably frustrated, especially if you were a big part of mama or daddy's life. Now's the time to take a break. You don't have to run there all the time. However, I would suggest that if you're used to going to get supplies for mom or dad, that you can go ahead and get those and deliver them to the facility. Many facilities are accepting those gifts and those supplies at the door, and then what we're doing is we're disinfecting them, we're wiping them down, and when you go to help get the stuff that your mom or dad needs, that does help us in the communities. It's helping the staff not having to go run and get some things. Now, some people don't have that luxury to have a daughter or a son nearby, right? So we are getting those supplies for our seniors and keeping them happy as possible. The staff and the seniors are doing well right now. They are really doing well in the communities. Now, you see stories on the news, and I don't watch the news a whole lot, and haven't seen a lot of things, but I'm sure there are some big stories out there that things aren't going well. But for the most part, when you think about the millions of seniors that are behind locked doors right now to protect them, there are so many of them that are doing so good. And what's really cool about it is that so many corporate offices and so many facility administrators and nurses and families, caregivers, all these people are getting creative, really creative to handle the situation. So what I would suggest to you is that there's so many ideas out there that you can look up on the internet, such really neat things that families are doing. What I would think about is if you just stop for a minute and really think about what your mom or what your dad would like and what's important to them, you're going to think of something. You will. You'll think of something. You'll know, what is the one little thing that I could do that would really mean something to mom or dad. You know, you see the videos and you see the stories about somebody coming to the window and doing stuff through the window. So many of our seniors live on a second or third floor that that's just not even possible, right? But there are many that you could do that with through the window. And if you can coordinate that and get them next to the window, and there's all that kind of logistics too. So that is a neat thing. In addition, or in place of, just be thinking about other ways that you could be really thinking about how you could tailor some really neat thing for mom or dad that would mean a lot to them. And maybe it's just simple thing of getting something simple on Amazon. And God bless Amazon, right? Delivering all our stuff. And UPS and FedEx and the United States Postal System. Yay. And all the truckers out there. Amen. So what you could do is maybe think about something that you could order, something that you could have delivered to the community. UPS and FedEx, they're able to deliver to our doors. And so that might be an extra special little surprise to mom or dad. And there may be something that you could find either at Walmart or at the grocery stores, something special that you could bring to them. Now what you might do is you might call the community and ask them, or pass it by them before you do something. Pass it by the administrator or the director of nurses and see, I think I want to bake my mom a pie today. Can I do that? Well, for me, I would say yes, right? No doubt whatsoever. It's not something that I can share with all the other seniors, that I could take it in the dining room and serve it up to everybody. But when we deliver, you bring that to our door and we take it to mom or dad, then we can deliver it to them. And then your mom or dad, it's theirs. It becomes their property. It is their property, and we're just delivering it to them, and then they can do what they want with it. So that might be some idea. You might order up some sort of special TV package. Most of the facilities have they've got all the TV going on, but your mom or dad may have not ever gotten the special movie packages. I know that seniors love the Western Channel. I can't tell you how many times that I fought for the Western Channel to be on just old regular TV, and that they didn't have to pay any special monies for that Western Channel. So that's something else that you could do too, is think about that they're in front of the TV and they're watching it, and they're getting their news, but they also might want to just take a break from the news and watch some movies. I know that I take care of a couple of seniors right now. They're enjoying the Westerns. I think it's DirecTV that is doing something special where they put some Westerns on. And so it's really cool what some of these different businesses are doing to help the seniors out there. But there might be some extra special packages that you could add, the movie channels, the Stars, the HBOs, all that kind of thing. And so that might be a special treat at this time. So that's something to do too. Even if you think about sending games or sending puzzles, maybe there's a special puzzle, there's a special project that you could have mom or dad do. Even when you think about all the things that all of us have at home that we just have never had time to get to, right? We just don't have time to get to it. And one of those things is photo albums, right? So if you have a lot of pictures that you just haven't gotten into a photo album, that might be something. And to keep them connected to their family. So you could deliver to the door a photo album and a bunch of pictures and just say, Mom, do you want to put this together while you're in your apartment or while you're in your room? And I know that a lot of the staff, they would enjoy doing that with your family. And you might put them heads up to the activity director, to the social services director, to maybe one of the caregivers, a housekeeper, and just visit with them because, their workload is certainly heavy. However, without all of us bugging them all day, without the traffic in there, all the riffraff, I call myself the riffraff, all the visitors, we end up making a lot of extra work for the caregivers a lot of times. And right now they just don't have that traffic that they're having to take care of. So they may have a little bit of time. You might think that they're super busy, and a lot are. I'm not taking that away from them at all, but I do know things slow down when we shut the doors. It really slows down, and when you consider all the activities the group activities and the group events that may have been shut down, and there's a lot of things that the world, the big agenda out there has slowed, hasn't it? And granted, anybody working in healthcare with the COVID is facing a lot of extra workload if you have some sick folks that you're taking care of. However, there's a lot of us that time has slowed down and the demands have slowed down. So if you can take advantage of that and maybe think of something, just take a little bit of time and think what you could send grandma or grandpa, or what you could do with them, and what you could even send them to help you with. And maybe you guys do it over FaceTime, or you do it over a phone call, and whatever the case may be, the staff can help you with that too. And just call them and put them heads up and maybe set a time, especially if you'll set a time with them. Because all of the activity directors and the social services directors, they're really trying to figure out, okay, how can we help these seniors in their apartments, in their rooms, within the building? How can we keep them feeling good and feeling happy, and just keep the day stirred up, some spontaneity, not one day runs into another day, because loneliness, helplessness, and boredom, those are the 3 plagues in a nursing home, in a assisted living, and those are dangerous. And even in our homes, I've been taking care of a senior now. He's told me he is lonesome, he is lonely. So that tells me I need to make a phone call to kids and let them know, give Dad a call, let him know what's going on with you all, and then just instead of just reporting to him, maybe spend half an hour or 45 minutes on the phone talking to him about what he's been up to, or what are the certain things that when he goes out shopping, who did he see, and does he take a drive around the town, and if you know the area, you can give Dad or Mom some ideas. Even the folks that are at home, there's many of them that can still get out and drive. So they could go out for a little drive, and as long as they're being careful and maintaining some space, and certainly not going somewhere where they're touching up on stuff. And one thing I would really caution is just a little rabbit trail right here, is when you get to the gas station, certainly wear some gloves, right? So get some gloves on as you do, take care of getting some gas, and then even talking to Mom or Dad about how to handle those gloves when you are wearing those gloves. I'll talk to that here in a little bit. But if Mom or Dad can get out and they can just go look at the cranes, go just take a drive that they normally would drive. And like a lot of folks now, they're getting on their bicycles. You see a lot of that in town now, right? So they're getting on their bicycles or they're hiking. Seniors can do that too in their cars, and then get home and fix their dinner, or hopefully somebody's maybe delivering some dinner to them and delivering something. Or if they're out in the mornings at the grocery stores, where a lot of the grocery stores are opening their doors early, and then they can get that done early before everybody comes in. However, I will say it's very kind of the grocery stores and the different stores to be doing that from 7 to 8 or 9 or something like that, and you can look it up and talk to them. But that is early for a senior. That's very early for them to get out, and they may be a little discombobulated. I had one of my seniors today. He went out early grocery shopping, but then he locked his keys in his house and he had a mess to deal with. So that's something to think about too, is that it is very early for them to be getting out. And so if you have a neighbor, if you have somebody that you can shop for, that would be awesome. My mom was with an attorney. She's in the middle of a probate thing now that my stepdad passed away. And her attorney, he was so sweet, he asked if he could go get something for her at the grocery store. So that was nice. But it's that kind of thing there. This COVID thing is really doing a lot for. It's doing a lot for us in coming together as a community and coming together as something special, a special people and a special country that we have where we help each other out. So that's another thing to be patting ourselves on the back and remembering all those really good things that are happening right now. So one thing that I wanted to address too is that when this whole glove situation and the whole sanitizing, one thing about it, and I just mentioned about wearing gloves when you get to the gas station, and I've seen people with gloves on at the post office yesterday. I saw that. One thing to remember, that when you are wearing gloves or you come across somebody that is wearing gloves, that they are protecting themselves from you. Okay, they're protecting themselves from you. When they take those gloves off at home, then when you do take those gloves off, peel those gloves off and don't touch the outside of them, right? Because you don't know what you just got on your gloves. So just because you have gloves on does not mean you are Superman and you are now invincible and that everybody around you is invincible. If you're wearing a pair of gloves, you are not protecting anybody but yourself. Okay, and that's good, that's all right, but as long as you understand that, this lady at the window at the post office yesterday, she said, "Oh, don't worry, I've got my gloves on." Well, that doesn't really mean anything to that postal worker who lent her his pen. The only thing that it's protecting is she's not going to get any germs off that pen, right? Her hands are protected. However, that postal worker doesn't know what was on her gloves and where she's been with those gloves, okay? So just remember that if you see somebody with gloves, you're not safe from whatever they've got going on. They're safe from you, okay? Which is a good thing, yeah. When you do take off your gloves, and you are wearing gloves and wherever you may go, just remember you're only protecting yourself. So when you go into a senior's apartment or you go somewhere, just remember that you've got to just really be thinking, because there's so many things that if you're not used to this, there's just so much that you don't even think about unless, like some of us who've been in healthcare forever, this is just second nature. And so a lot of people are having to learn, and that's good, that's all right. But when you put on a pair of gloves, you are not Superman, like I said, and you need to be thinking about all the things you're touching. Okay, so you're getting all the stuff, all the germs or whatever you're getting on your hands. If you think about it as you're picking up things as you go, and you don't want to take those into your house, right? So don't take those gloves into your house. And when you get back in your car, let's use the gas pump, for example. So you have gloves on, and when you get back in your car, you just touch that gas station. You swiped your card, you just got through touching all the buttons, press yes, no, zip code, all that, and you paid for your gas. Now you get back in your car and you start fiddling with the buttons on your stereo, you start touching the steering wheel. Well, you might as well not wear gloves. You just put whatever was on that gas pump, you just put it in your car. Okay? So one thing that you might want to do is just think about that, all right? So maybe you just want to do is one glove, and so you touch things in your car with your ungloved hand, right? And then your gloved hand, you're just going to be touching the things on the gas pump. So be thinking about that. It's like, I guess maybe a good way to think about it is like pretend everything has mud on it. So if you think about anything that has mud on it or some goop, you think about, oh, well, I don't want to bring that in my car. I don't want to get it dirty. Or you just put some goop on your shoes. You just don't want to track that in your car. That's what you're doing. You're picking up germs. There's things you're not seeing that you're picking up, things that are only seen under a microscope that you're bringing into your vehicle. Same thing with your house. You're bringing those things into your house, okay? So when you go to the grocery store and you have gloves on, you may just want to make sure that you take those gloves off before you get into your car. You picked up all kinds of things in that grocery store, right? And then now you're touching everything in your car, okay? Or in your house or wherever. So be thinking about all that stuff is like you're out and you're just getting slimed or something. If you can picture the things you can't see, the microbial size things that you just can't see, you're picking those things up on your gloves. The other thing about the coronavirus and a lot of viruses, you're picking it up in your hair. All right? So I recommend that you make sure you pull your hair back, put it under a hat. So if you got a lot of hair like I do, get that hair pulled back. You don't want it swinging and touching and getting into things. Same with your clothes. You're picking up little microbes in the air on your clothes. So you might be wearing a mask, you might be wearing gloves, but then you're swishing your hair all over the place and you're touching your hair with your gloves on and you just pack that bug right in your house. All right? So remember, this thing is airborne, and just like a lot of germs, right? Sneezing and coughing that goes on in different places, and then you're catching that in the air, or you just touched a surface and now you're touching your hair and you're running your fingers through your hair, through that bald head or whatever it may be. I'm being silly, but just remember, you are putting that stuff on you off of your gloves and off of your hands. That's why they tell you not to touch your face, right? Don't touch your face so that you can't get those things into your body. Well, just remember, then you are getting things on your clothes and on your body. So if you are in a very infectious space, with all of us that work healthcare, we strip right when we get to our door. We don't even walk in the house with our shoes on, with our clothes on. We just get rid of everything right there and at the door. We all have different ways and different systems that we do that, and that's where you see gowns. You see the different gowns. People are wearing, you hear about the PPEs, the protection equipment that we're wearing. So it's the same thing with your clothes when you're out in the stores and your shoes, okay? So just think about if somebody puked or they had an accident on the floor and maybe it got mopped up with a dirty mop or it got mopped, with a rag or something. Now it could be on your shoes. All right, so think about that. When you are trying to make sure that you are disinfecting, one thing that is amazing, it's just absolutely incredible, is the sun. And the sun is actually killing this virus. Now, I haven't looked it up to see how long to put your stuff out in the sun, but the sun is killing the proteins. It's just doing its thing the way God created it, and you can actually be disinfecting your clothes, your stuff. If you just don't want to be washing stuff all the time, just set your stuff out in the sun. That, Grandma had it figured out years ago, right? She had clotheslines. My mom still has a clothesline. We'd all think, well, that's not pretty in our pretty little yards and such, but dang, you know what? I think we all need to have clotheslines because the power of the sun is amazing. When I was in Kenya, I saw that there is no disposable stuff. When we were doing surgeries out in the field, here we're removing goiters, and they've got rags, right? The Kenyans have rags that they're doing that they're actually, it's not disposable towels or disposable cloths. They're actually using real stuff that they've got to go wash because there is no waste management to come get the trash and throw it away. there's very few disposables. So, but what they did is they washed it, then they had all their rags out on the grass in the sun, and they just let it dry in the sun. And there was no infections. The rate of infection was amazing to me, because they just didn't have the equipment, the PPEs, the protective equipment that we have now here in the U.S. So that's just something to keep in mind, that you can do that. There's all kinds of creative things that you can do. And just know that you are doing a good job. We're going to get through this, and you are important to your mom and dad. You are important to the community. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect other people around you. And you're hearing all this. I don't need to repeat it. And if you have any questions, just talk openly. I think that's the biggest thing is just talk openly. And this is a great time to learn how to bake bread from Grandma and Grandpa. Like we've talked about before on the show, is learn how to do some of those old things. And under these circumstances, boy, I tell you what, it would be kind of good to know how to make some bread, or how to do some things outside that we're just used to purchasing. I've heard all kinds of stories about how to do toilet paper, right? Doing toilet paper the good old-fashioned way. So, and that might be fun to talk to Grandma and Grandpa. Well, what'd you guys do if you didn't have toilet paper? Because they can tell you stories about that, right? They sure can. So, and then talk to the community where your mama or daddy's at, and ask them, visit with them and ask them, is there something special that you can do? Is there something special that maybe mom or dad has shared with them, the facility, and maybe mom or dad hasn't shared with you because they're trying to hold their appearance as mom and dad, that they're tough, and maybe they've shared something with a staff person. So that's also something that you can do, is just get with the facility and really listen to them. Because so many times I know with my family or with people I've cared for, that I'll ask some other staff, the caregiving staff, and the seniors might tell a caregiver or a housekeeper. Housekeepers are just probably, they know more than the caregivers, honestly, because they stay in the room and actually clean the room and talk to the senior and really get to know them, maybe at a deeper level, or at a different kind of level, not necessarily deeper, but at a different kind of level when they're cleaning the room and they just visit and chit chat. And so many caregivers, we just go in and we find out what needs to be done, and then we leave the room. So if you guys can do what you can there, visiting with the seniors, the caregiving staff, and just brainstorming with them. I know that we are close to saying goodbye and closing up the show today, and we'll see what another week brings. You know, we've got this time last week, boy, what a difference a week makes, right? That's why I've just been thinking it. And you know, when you look at time, and you look at the different emails that come across, and you listen to the news, and you listen to what's happening, and even the newspaper, if you were to look at last week's newspaper, last Tuesday's newspaper, compared to today's newspaper, it's a lot different. The world in the United States is a lot different right now, aren't we? And so by next Tuesday, it will be different as well, and we'll have some more information that we'll visit with you about. I'm here waiting for the station manager to come shut me down, so I'll just keep talking and visit with you guys. You know, the other thing that might be a special treat that you could do is just even go into Sonic, or go into Arby's, or go to a restaurant and get some to-go food for mom or dad. That might be an extra special thing to do too. So, all right, I've got my station manager here. He's going to shut me down. You guys I'm so excited. I'll talk to you next week, and God bless you. And remember, pat yourselves on the back. You're doing good. All right, see you soon. Talk to you soon.